Hello and welcome back, or welcome in for the first time. As we continue on with Hosea, we've been talking about the story of the return, Hosea's story, and one of the subtexts here is the role of a lifetime. The role of a lifetime. This idea of turning and returning to God and really revealing the hearts of Israel to themselves. We often have a way of seeing other people's faults and other people's issues and then not seeing them in ourselves, becoming very blind to our own faults and failures, hookups and shortcomings. And so they think that everything is okay. They're blessed as a people. They're in the promised land. They're having sacrifices at the temple. They're celebrating all of the appointed feasts. They're celebrating their Sabbaths. They're doing everything as written in the book of Leviticus. They're doing it by the book, or so it seems, but they're leaving some of the big things undone. And one of the big things is something which is a foundation stone of the nation of Israel. It's actually what's called the Shema, or the Shema, some would call it. The Shema, which is, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one, and you shall love the Lord your God with all of your heart, with all of your soul, with all of your mind, and with all of your strength." So this underpinning of the entire nation, and it serves as like the preamble to their Constitution. Just as we have a preamble to the United States Constitution, and it is memorized and quoted, and it's considered one of our founding documents, the nation of Israel had as its founding document, found in the book of Deuteronomy, something called the Shema, or the Shema. "Hear, O Israel, the Lord your God is one." This is opposed to the polytheism of their day. "And you shall love the Lord your God with all of your heart, with all of your soul, with all of your mind, and with all of your strength." With all that's within you. Jesus would later quote from this when they asked him what was the greatest commandment. It would have been tempting to name one of the 10 commandments. But Jesus goes to this founding document, this founding statement of his nation, and he says, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, your soul, your mind, your strength." And the second one is like unto it, "Love your neighbor as yourself." Powerful statement. In one account, it says that one of the teachers of the law says, "You have well answered, for upon this hangs all the law and the prophets." In another account, where it probably happened multiple times as Jesus ministered, the tables were switched, and he asked a young man, and the young man's response was that, and Jesus tells him, everything hangs upon this. Love God, love your neighbor. If you look at the actual tablets of the law, the first 5 deal with issues of our Creator, even if it be our people, our parents, because it says honor your father and your mother. 1 through 5 is about honoring God and honoring your parents. And then the next 5 are about interpersonal relationship with people who are not your parents, and they may or may not be related to you. And they're on the earth. So one is a relationship above you, and the other one is a relationship among you. And so we have this idea, and this is to be saturated with love, but not just any love, the love of God, this great love, this amazing love that is later described in the Greek language in the New Testament as agape. This is the God kind of love. And now we're going to see a picture of that in verses 1 and 2 of Hosea. So let's jump right in there, specifically into the passage of Scripture. And let's look here as we're considering that turning and returning to God, the greatest role of his life. We have Hosea playing the part of Yahweh, the God of Israel, and living out in the texture of his life exactly how God feels and what's happening to God as a result of the lifestyle choices of the people of Israel. So here we get this in verses 1 and 2. That's all we'll look at today. The Lord said to me, "Go, show your love to your wife again." So evidently, she has become estranged from Hosea, and Hosea has not had any form of relationship with her. We can certainly understand if Hosea has 3 kids at home that he's making sure they're taken care of, and he has a wife that is playing the role of a prostitute. And so the Lord said to Hosea, "Go show your love to your wife again, though she is loved by another man and is an adulteress." Wow. This is going to be a different style, a different kind of love than you or I know about that happens naturally. In fact, this would be called foolish, to go and show somebody that has done you this wrong that you love them. To do something tangibly to express the quality of your love for them would be the height of foolishness. No one in their right mind would recommend that to you. But this is what the Lord asks of Hosea. He is going to play out the role of a lifetime. He's going to do towards his wife what God is going to do towards Israel. God tells him, "Love her as the Lord loves the Israelites," though, or in spite of the fact, despite the idea that they turn to other gods and love the sacred raisin cakes. So they were involved in some sort of offering to one of the strange gods of Canaan, and it involved this putting together something that was called a sacred raisin cake. Several times in Israel's history, they have connected to some form of Canaanitish god, the Baals, and this particular one evidently was commemorated by this sacred raisin cake. And so they are involving themselves in this false worship. And so he is supposed to do something that's going to be much like the Lord loving Israel and demonstrating his love for her despite their involving themselves in this idolatry. And so here's what he does. It's written here, the story of Hosea as he's playing the part of Yahweh. "So I bought her for 15 shekels of silver and about a homer and a lethek of barley." Now what's interesting is a homer and a lethek of barley amounts to another 15 shekels of silver, which amounts to 30 pieces of silver. Does that sound familiar? Anybody? That is what the arranged price was to betray Jesus the Messiah by Judas Iscariot. 30 pieces of silver. We have Jeremiah pay the price of 30 pieces of silver in conjunction to a piece of land, a piece of property. And so what is this? This is the price of a slave. So what is Hosea doing? Hosea is going to demonstrate his love for his wife by going and actually paying for her. She has sold herself to others. Now, Hosea is going to pay the price to get her focus. He's going to pay a price for her to get her attention focused once again upon him. What a powerful picture. Where many of us would say, let her go, let her be sold to slavery, let her involve herself in her sin. I'm letting this go. This is not what position the Lord takes. It's not the position Hosea takes. He goes and pays the price of a slavery. a price of a slave, the price of slavery, and the price of a slave. So what can we meditate upon on this Monday? How about if we focus our attention upon the idea that, number one, God is looking for us even when we go and involve ourselves in sin that places us into a position where we're enslaved to sin. And secondly, that He is willing to pay that price to get our affection and attention, really our attention upon Him, and get our ears open so that He can show us His real and great love. Here's the hint. For Gomer, it was in getting goods and it was in the selling of her body. And now there is going to be a love shown to her that is far beyond the sensuality and the materialism that she has been accustomed to. So the Lord is willing to step into our circumstance and situation and show His great love to us by rescuing us from our predicament. So what kind of predicament do we need to be delivered from today? I'm here to tell you some great news based upon the example of Hosea, who's playing the role of his life. That is, that God is willing to pay the price and has paid the price to rescue us from the slave market. Isn't He good that way? Lord bless you as you think about that. Enjoy that in your devotional time today. Hope to see you tomorrow as we continue on with Hosea chapter 3, verse number 3. Lord bless you.